Hey, what's up, guys? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. All right, today, opinion piece here. Boxing news. Charlo and David Benavidez. Well, it looked like Benavidez was calling out Charlo, saying he needs to grow some balls and get in the ring. And then Charlo threw out there saying, hey, let's do this. I want to beat his little punk ass, Charlo said, or something like that. Then Charlo's people come out and say that Charlo's not going anywhere. He's not going up to 168. That he's going to try to unify the division. Now, this goes out to my boy Von Blue. Got mad respect for you, bro, but your boy is ducking people and picking and choosing who he wants to fight. He's been very protected as a fighter, has Charlo, and enough is enough already. He needs to shut the fuck up and just fight. And it's kind of a cross video here with Charlo, a shut the fuck up video, because God, I'm just tired of these Charlo twins calling people out. And and granted, they are good fighters. I've always said that, and they have passed the test in front of them thus far. But let's look at the Charlo twins. Jermell, I'm gonna real quick, because I know this is supposed to be on Jermall, but Jermell, what has he really done? He knocked out a couple guys that were decent. Erickson Lubin was the biggest one, that first round knockout. He caught him. We didn't know the kind of chin that Lubin had. He caught him, knocked him out, impressive. Decision over Austin Trout, not too impressive. That was the second biggest win, up to really the knockout of Tony Harrison, which, is that really that big of an accomplishment? He also lost to Harrison by a close decision in the first fight. So, and then he comes and knocks out Jason Rosario, who beat the guy that beat the guy. It was just Rosario pulled off an upset over J-Rock, who pulled off an upset over Jarrett Hurd. Don't get me wrong. I think Charlo's a good fighter. He's unified the division. He's got one more title to do. I do think Jermell's a good fighter, but he is not great. Look at his resume. It is not great. It's good enough to be number one in the division right now, but he has not beaten the guys that were supposed to be the top guys, like Jarrett Hurd. He would have beaten Jarrett Hurd if they would have fought, then he'd have my respect, but he hasn't. If he beats Brian Castano in his next fight, he will keep going up a notch and a notch. But Jermall, in my opinion, I think, outside of the win over Sergey Derevyanchenko last year, I'm not super impressed with Jermall. What was his biggest wins up to that point? He knocked out J-Rock Williams back in 2015-16 before J-Rock even became anything. And what has J-Rock become? J-Rock hasn't done anything outside of upsetting Jarrett Hurd, which was a major win. Let me not take credit away, but let's be honest. Jarrett Hurd was overlooking J-Rock going into that fight. Overlooking him. And J-Rock pulled off the upset, okay? Got the win. But then in his initial defense against Jason Rosario, who wasn't a big name, he got his ass whipped and knocked out for doing the same thing that Jarrett Hurd did to him, and that's J-Rock Williams. So, hey, impressive win for Charlo, but is J-Rock that big of an accomplishment? He beat Austin Trout by a decision. It wasn't an impressive performance. That was his biggest win after that, okay? Not that impressive. And then, now he beat Derevyanchenko, which, hey, I got to give him props. Derevyanchenko went 12 with Danny Jacobs, and Charlo beat him more impressively than Danny did. He almost upset Triple G. Definitely almost, looked better than Triple G. But let's be honest, Triple G was overlooking Derevyanchenko as well. Charlo knew that Derevyanchenko was a full load. And, hey, Charlo handled him. I am not going to take that away. But is Derevyanchenko a great fighter or on a top-notch level? No, he isn't. Or is he projected to be some superior talent? No, he is not. So, Charlo, he's good. Both of them, they're good. They're not great. But Jamal has been very protected since he's become a name. And he's been a name now for a good part of about 5 years, I think. Going back to when he knocked out K9 Bundridge to capture the title, I want to say that was 2016. Might have been 2015. So we're talking over 5 years now. He's been a legitimate name, but who has he beaten in that time span that is super impressive, you know? And I know he was trying to slide into a Canelo fight. He said he wants to unify, he wants to fight Triple G. Now, if that fight materializes, then I'll back off, because that is absolutely a bigger fight than David Benavidez. But, you know, if that fight does not happen, then he's ducking people. Because really there's two options. There's actually three options that make sense at 160. There's Triple G, that's the glamour fight. That'd be great. There's also a showdown that makes a lot of sense with Demetrius Andrade, the Unify belts. He's avoided that fight too. You want to talk about people avoiding Andrade? Charlo's one of them. And for good reason. Andrade has a shitty style, like a very complicated style, and he's not a big name. So, but he is a world champion, he is undefeated. So Charlo has been ducking him as well, just like all the rest of the guys supposedly, you know? And then Chris Eubank, that would be the only other fight that would make sense, because he actually has ties with the PBC. It's a makeable fight. It's a fight that Eubank's been wanting. But if he doesn't even go after him and he ends up fighting some nobody in his next fight, I'm very interested in seeing who Charlo is going to decide to fight, because he's really avoiding people if he does not sign a big fight next. He should. He's coming off of a big win over Derevyanchenko. He's in optional mode. He does not have to make a mandatory. So he should be fighting a big name and testing himself. Or is he just trying to keep himself undefeated, keep himself protected, till he can get in line for that big payday against Canelo? You know, you gotta wait and see. But if you're gonna call a guy out, then call the guy out and go fight him, in my opinion. If you're gonna say, hey, I wanna beat his little punk ass, then go fight him. You know, don't have your manager, Ronnie Shields, coming out saying he's not going anywhere, or your trainer. Not bullshit, man. You know, I'll tell you right now, if Canelo at 168 said, I want Charlo next, Charlo would be moving up to fucking 168. You know, David Benavidez, I think that's a great matchup. It's an easy fight to make. And would I think Charlo be smart moving up and going after Benavidez in his first fight? No, I don't. I think he should ease himself into 168 if he can't get Canelo first. But if you're going to say call the guy out, then go fucking fight him. But as usual, Charlo, being a very protected fighter, is not going after that smoke. So, very disappointed in Charlo. He does need to shut the fuck up and just fight somebody, and I hope it's a good fight. I would love to see him and Triple G. That's the top two guys at 160 right now. Unified belts, it would make sense. But we got to wait and see what happens. I will not hold my breath, and we'll keep you posted. All right, guys. True Boxing. You've been here with the truth.